In other news and overseas tonight, an American aircraft carrier and 3 destroyers have arrived in the Middle East.
We've told these countries that we will guide their ships safely out of these restricted waterways so that they can freely and ably get on with their business.
This fight, Operation Epic Fury, it hits home.
2:17 local time, Strait of Hormuz. The water is glass, calm, almost peaceful. A fishing dhow drifts north of Bandar Abbas, its lone occupant unaware that he is floating across the most contested sliver of ocean on Earth. The air smells of salt and diesel. Above him, a thin crescent moon. Below him, 250 feet of dark water hiding a Kilo-class submarine. Behind him, the lights of Iran's largest naval base glow against the Zagros foothills. In 11 minutes, this stretch of sea transforms into a crematorium. 84 vessels of the Iranian Navy and IRGC naval forces have no idea what is about to hit them. What unfolds next will rewrite every assumption about literal warfare in the 21st century. Imagine you're standing on the bridge of an Iranian Mujj-class frigate at this exact moment. The deck plates hum. Your radar operator is sipping bitter tea. The IRGC commander on the pier is briefing his fast attack squadron, 38 boats armed with Nor anti-ship missiles, Chinese-derived C-802 variants stockpiled for years. Tehran's strategy has always been the same: swarm, overwhelm, bleed any U.S. carrier strike group that dares enter the Gulf. They have rehearsed this thousands of times. They believe it will work. Bandar Abbas is the crown jewel, home port of the Islamic Republic of Iran Navy's Southern Fleet. 3 Kilo-class submarines, 2 Jamaran-class frigates, 6 Sina-class missile boats, the newly commissioned Shahid Mahdavi forward base ship, a fleet of Ghatar midget submarines that hug the seabed like scorpions. Add to that the IRGC Navy's distributed bases at Abu Musa, Larak, Siri, Keshem, each studded with mobile coastal missile batteries, Ghatar, the Khalij Fars anti-ship ballistic missile. On paper, this is one of the most formidable anti-access bubbles in the world. The Strait of Hormuz, 21 miles wide at its narrowest. 20% of the world's oil flows through it every single day. Iran's leadership has long boasted that they can close it in 60 seconds. But tonight, 60 seconds is exactly how long the United States will need to begin disassembling that boast piece by piece. 300 nautical miles to the southeast, in the Gulf of Oman, the carrier USS Gerald R. Ford is operating in radio-restricted EMCON conditions. Around her, an escort screen of Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, USS Bainbridge, USS Mahan, USS Cole. Beneath the surface, 2 Virginia-class submarines, USS Montana and USS New Jersey, slide through the thermocline at 12 knots. At Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, ground crews finish loading B-2 Spirits forward deployed from Whiteman. At Al Dhafra in the UAE, F-35A Lightning IIs of the 388th Fighter Wing are already taxiing. At Naval Support Activity Bahrain, the watch floor of the 5th Fleet is silent except for the soft clack of keys and the low murmur of the duty captain. 14,000 American personnel across the region, each one with a family waiting somewhere. Each one trained for exactly this. Now shift perspective. Climb inside the mind of an IRGC strategist sitting in a hardened command bunker beneath Bandar Abbas. He believes he holds the geographic high ground. He believes his missile inventory, over 3,000 anti-ship weapons of various ranges, guarantees deterrence. He believes the swarm doctrine, refined since 1988's Operation Praying Mantis, will inflict casualties no American president can politically absorb. He has spent his career preparing for this fight. There is a problem with his plan. What he doesn't know is that for the past 36 hours, a constellation of National Reconnaissance Office satellites has been logging every ship movement, every fueling truck, every radar emission across the southern Iranian coast. He doesn't know that an MQ-9B Guardian has been loitering at 40,000 feet beyond visual range, mapping his command and control nodes in synthetic aperture radar. He doesn't know that a Triton MQ-4C has spent the night fingerprinting the radio signatures of every patrol boat in his fleet. He doesn't know about the AI fusion engine at Tampa headquarters that has cross-referenced all of this and produced a target list of 312 aim points, ranked by strategic value. The flaw in his thinking is simple. He prepared for the war he expected. The Americans are about to fight a different one. 0356 hours. The first move is not a missile. It is a packet of electrons. U.S. Cyber Command, coordinating with the 16th Air Force, executes a prepositioned implant in Iran's air defense data link. For 4 minutes and 18 seconds, the Bavar 373 long-range surface-to-air system displays ghost tracks. Operators see nothing where there is everything. By the time they realize the screens are lying, it is already too late. 0400 hours. From the launch tubes of USS Montana, the first Tomahawk Block V cruise missiles eject in cold launch puffs of compressed gas. They surface, ignite, level off at 100 feet above the waves, and turn northwest at 550 miles per hour. 56 of them in the first salvo. From USS Bainbridge, USS Mahan, USS Cole, another 84. From two B-2 Spirits now standing off at the edge of Iranian airspace, 32 JSSMER stealth cruise missiles. From a flight of 6 F-35 as 24 AGM-158 SEAL LRASM anti-ship missiles, sea skimming, autonomous hunting. 196 weapons. Inbound. Simultaneously. From 4 directions. You're in the Iranian command bunker now. The duty officer's coffee cup tilts as he leans toward his console. A single radar return. Then 5. Then 20. Then the screen blooms into static and confusion. He shouts the alert. Across the bay, sailors sprint toward general quarter stations. The Kilo-class Tariq begins emergency dive procedures. The Jomran rotates her Merib CWS turrets toward open sea. The ARGC fast attack swarm boats are already untying lines, captains screaming for their crews. Heart pounding. This is real. This is not a drill. Could you make that call? You have 90 seconds. What do you do? The first wave arrives at 0407. The LRASMs come in low and silent. They have spent the transit talking to each other, dividing targets, refusing assignments to vessels already marked by another missile, autonomously selecting aim points based on threat hierarchy. The Jomran takes 2 amidships. Her hull splits along the keel. The Sina-class Joshan never gets her engines fully online. A Tomahawk enters through the port quarter and detonates in the magazine. The pierside Shahid Mahdavi is hit by 4 JSSMERS in 11 seconds, the strikes walking from bow to stern with mechanical precision. The Bavar 373 system, finally clearing its corrupted feed, manages to launch 14 interceptors. It scores 0 hits. The Tomahawks are flying terrain-hugging routes the system was never designed to defeat. The 3rd Khordad batteries fire 22 rounds blindly into the sky. 0 hits. The Sayyad, 3 missiles arc into the night and fall harmlessly into empty water. For every defender, an answer the defenders never trained for. Watch the Ghatar submarines. They are Iran's pride, 120 tons each, built to lurk in shallow water and ambush. Tonight, that shallow water becomes their grave. USS New Jersey, vectored by P-8A Poseidon acoustic data, fires a spread of Mark 48 ADCAP heavyweight torpedoes. The first 3 Ghattars do not even register the attack before their hulls implode. A 4th tries to bottom. 90 feet of water is not enough. The torpedo finds her. 0411 hours. The IRGC swarm boats finally reach open water. 38 fast attack craft fanning out, each captain accelerating to flank speed, each screaming the order to launch. They have practiced this maneuver every week of every year. But tonight, between them and the Ford Strike Group, 2 flights of F divided by a -18 F Super Hornets are already inbound, weapons hot. AGM-154 JSOW glide bombs deploy. Each carries enough submunitions to obliterate a 500-foot radius of sea surface. The swarm becomes a debris field in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Less time than it takes you to brew a pot of coffee. This is not a battle. Not a test. An execution. You're in the cockpit of one of those F-35s now. Helmet-mounted display painting targets in cool green geometry. Your wingman 2 miles port. Below, the coastline of Iran is a string of orange flowers blooming in the dark. Every flower a fuel depot, a missile bunker, a command node going up. You are not afraid. You are calm. The aircraft is doing what it was built to do. So are you. 0418 hours. Phase 2. From Al Udeid, 8 more B-2 Spirits, having transited at altitude, drop their loads on the hardened submarine pens at Bandar Abbas. GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, 30,000 pounds of bunker buster, designed to defeat reinforced concrete buried under bedrock. 2 mops per pen. The roofs collapse inward. The 2 remaining Kilo-class boats trapped in their berths, Tariq's sister ships, never see daylight again. At Abu Musa Island, F-35CS from the Ford engage the coastal Khalij Fars launchers. These are anti-ship ballistic missiles capable of hitting carriers at 300 kilometers. They never get the launch order in time. The mobile transporter erector launchers are caught in the dispersal phase, half-deployed, vulnerable. SDB-2 small-diameter bombs find each one. 18 launchers. 18 fireballs. At Lerik, at Siri, at Keshem, the same story plays out in parallel. Real-time targeting fed by satellite, drone, and electronic intelligence. Aim points assigned by an algorithm that does not panic, does not hesitate, does not miss. The IRGC's distributed defense network, designed for resilience against exactly this kind of strike, collapses because resilience assumes the enemy will be slow. Tonight the enemy is faster than thought. Tehran scrambles. The Supreme National Security Council convenes in emergency session. Orders are issued to launch the Shahab-3 ballistic missile reserve at U.S. bases. The orders never reach the launch crews. Cyber Command has severed the relevant command links. Several launch officers, sensing the chaos, refuse to act without verbal confirmation that cannot come. The doctrine of distributed authority, Iran's hedge against decapitation, has become its paralysis. Now from the American side. President's authorization arrived 3 hours ago, contingent on confirmed Iranian preparation for a strike on Gulf shipping, preparation the intelligence community had documented to a 95% confidence level. The rules of engagement are clear. Targets are confined to military assets and dual-use facilities directly enabling naval operations. No civilian infrastructure. No power grid. No oil refineries. This is not regime change. This is a calculated demonstration. A surgical removal of one specific capability, Iran's ability to threaten the strait, and nothing more. That restraint is itself a weapon. It tells Tehran, we could go further. We chose not to. Choose carefully what comes next. 0431 hours. The counterattack that never happens. Iran does manage to launch 11 anti-ship missiles from surviving coastal batteries near Jask. The Ford Strike Group's defensive umbrella absorbs all 11. SM-6 missiles from the Berks engage at 200 kilometers. SM-2 block IACs handle the leakers at 50 kilometers. The Phalanx CWS aboard Cole spins up for one engagement, expends 240 rounds, and shreds the final inbound at 1,800 yards. 0 American ships are scratched. 0 American sailors are wounded. For every one of theirs, 25 of ours. That is not a ratio. That is a verdict. 0438 hours. A pair of Iranian F-4 Phantoms, airframes older than the pilots flying them, attempt an intercept. They are detected by an E-2D Hawkeye 140 miles before they detect anything themselves. 2 AIM-120D AMRAAMs are fired from F-35CS they will never see. The Phantoms become 2 falling stars over the Gulf. Their pilots eject. They are recovered alive by Iranian search and rescue 90 minutes later. A small mercy in a night that will offer few. 0442 hours. It is over. 42 minutes. From the first Tomahawk leaving the tube, to the last secondary explosion at Bandar Abbas. 42 minutes. That is roughly the length of a single episode of your favorite show. In that span, the Islamic Republic of Iran's surface fleet has effectively ceased to exist. 71 vessels destroyed or damaged beyond repair, including all 3 Southern Kilos, both Jamrans, 4 of 6 Sina-class boats, the Mahdavi, and 28 of 38 IRGC fast attack craft, 4 of 5 known Gauter midget submarines on the bottom. 84% of identified coastal anti-ship missile launchers neutralized. 6 command and control nodes erased. The hardened submarine pens, built to survive a nuclear near-miss, are open to the sky. American losses. 1 MQ-9 Reaper, shot down by a Lucky Tor M1 over Keshem. 2 minor injuries aboard USS Bainbridge from a hydraulic line that failed during a hard maneuver. 0 combat fatalities. 0 ships damaged. 0 aircraft lost in air-to-air combat. Final tally. 196 American weapons launched in the opening salvo. 312 aim points serviced over 42 minutes. 71 enemy combatants neutralized. 11 enemy weapons launched in response. 0 American losses. The numbers tell a story that no propaganda can rewrite. Pull back now. Look at this from above. What just happened? This is not the war Iran prepared for. For 40 years, the Islamic Republic built a defense around 3 pillars: distributed forces too dispersed to destroy, layered missiles too numerous to intercept, and political will too brittle in Washington to authorize a decisive strike. Tonight, all 3 pillars cracked at once. The dispersion did not matter because the targeting was perfect. The numbers did not matter because the strike came faster than the launch order could travel. The political question was already answered before Tehran realized the question had been asked. There is a deeper lesson here, and it has nothing to do with American weapons. It has to do with information. The side that sees first, decides first, acts first, wins. Always. The hardware on display tonight, the F-35s and B-2s and Tomahawks, those are visible. Impressive. But they are not the decisive factor. The decisive factor is the invisible web, the satellites, the cyber implants, the AI fusion engines, the data links connecting a submarine in the Gulf of Oman to a pilot over Abu Musa to a watch officer in Tampa. Modern war is not won by who has the biggest missile. It is won by who has the clearest picture. For Iran, the picture was a lie. For America, the picture was the truth. That gap, the gap between perception and reality, was the entire battle. Everything else was choreography. Consider also the restraint. The American strike stopped at military targets. It did not touch Tehran's electricity. It did not punish the Iranian people. It did not seek to topple the regime. That choice was strategic. By limiting the objective, the United States made the operation legible. The message was specific. Threaten the strait, lose the ability to threaten the strait. Nothing more, nothing less. A loud message, but a clear one. In an age of escalation spirals, clarity is a rare and valuable thing. Imagine you're the senior leadership in Tehran tomorrow morning, surveying the wreckage. What do? Retaliate against U.S. bases and invite the same treatment for your air force, your missile production, your nuclear infrastructure? or absorb the blow, recalibrate, accept that the strait is now an American lake for as long as Washington wishes it to be. Either choice is bitter. There is no good option. That too is the design. So here is the question I want you to sit with. Was this a victory, or was it a warning? Was the goal to destroy Iran's fleet, or to demonstrate to every adversary watching, Beijing, Moscow, Pyongyang, exactly how fast a 21st century strike package can dismantle a 20th century military? Because if it is the latter, then the audience for this scenario is not in Tehran at all. The audience is everyone else. What does this reveal about future conflicts? Let's discuss in the comments. Drop your analysis below. I read every one. If breakdowns like this fire you up, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because next week we're walking through what happens when a Chinese carrier group meets a US submarine wolfpack in the South China Sea. Until then, stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, in modern war, the first to see is the first to win. And tonight, somebody saw everything.